I'm gonna try that. Alright. What my chips? Got my bread. What is up, everybody? I'm thirsty. Hey Reggie, how are you? Hey y'all, what's going on? I was doing nothing and I wanted to talk about this documentary I watched on YouTube. So that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. Hey Hannah, how are you? Gonna give folks a chance to get on in. Hey Roma, how are you? Come on, getting up for work, graveyard shift, word out, or are you somewhere else where it's daytime? It is 10:24 where I'm at. Oh, and I went and got me some cute stuff at. I know what this means. It ain't really very discreet no more. And Mother Adam and Eve. I got. Isn't this cute? This little negligee. So when we come out of Rona and I'm getting me some meat, isn't this so cute? Isn't this cute? This color is going to look love on my skin. Isn't it cute? It's an extra large because you know I am not her size. Don't want to be her size. That is so cute. And you got a wrap around. I love a wrap around waist. A little waist cincher, honey. Cinch you on up. And then we got some good old like I don't know, it's not flipping it. It's like weird on my end, so I don't know if it's weird on y'all end. Fuck water. Yay. Water-based lube. So it can so it can sound like macaroni and yes. Yes, I love it. Yes, I love fuck water. Yes, I love fuck water. I like platinum wet. I love fuck water. Um, I also like if I have a cheap lube. Well, I don't know about cheap, but if I have like a regular lube, like an Astroglide, I know how to make Astroglide love too. But these are already ready to go. Yes, I went in there. I had walked past. I have one right by my house, and I had walked past, and I went to go get some lube. Because I don't have any, because I haven't really been. I ain't got like penetrated in like a year and a half, but we feeling like some adventure. So I made sure when I feel like some adventure, I have the things that you need. And so I went in there and was like, you like gun oil? Yeah, I like gun oil. I like gun oil too. But the what I don't like about gun oil is the packaging. It always spills out. It always you put it in your bag, it'll be all in the top of the little lid. I don't like the packaging. They need to get their packaging together because it leaks. It's just too much. I hate it. Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like about gun oil. If they try it. Yes, a year and a half. Yes, I haven't. I've got some head. Like I'm more of a. I like head better anyway. But you know when when you want to get a dick down, you know, sometimes it just doesn't work out. And I'm moody is what I was about to say. Moody is what is the first word that came to mind, but that's doesn't have the right connotation. I'm a person that I can be turned off very easily. So how a person talks, how a person says things, certain it's just I, a nigga can talk himself out of some ass in like a hot second. Yeah, it's I'm one of them people that I can easily okay, I don't feel this. I don't like this, so I'm out of here. When they get too arrogant or when they get too submissive to anything, will be like, oh no. And sometimes I'll be like, oh no, but you give me some head. Yeah. So, oh, what else? We need some water. I drink like Pedialyte. Like if I'm being drinking wine, I drink Pedialyte. So to avoid any kind of hangovers. But I love Pedialyte bottles. They're just the perfect size. Mm. So I keep them and use them as cups, like my grandma did mason jars. Who is this person? I remember George Hill, finance. He used to he followed me on Twitter. Ooh, yeah. Now he be retweeting a lot of gay shit, but I live. But he follows me on my freak page, and I just got a notification. Who is this? All right. So have y'all seen this A Secret Love? Have y'all seen that on Netflix? Or must I tell y'all about it? Secret lovers, yeah, that's what we are. Try so hard to hide the way we feel. Cause we both belong to someone else. And you can't let go of what you feel. It also real. I remember that song. That's my mom, not my grandmother, my mom's era. Let me see. So a secret love. So a secret love is about these two white lesbians who were together for 70 years, man. 70. So they kind of go, it was produced by Ryan Murphy. So, sometimes I'd be apprehensive about watching white queer love stuff because, I'm woke and some stuff irritate me. Like how they navigate the world with a lot of privilege that kind of shield them from some of the perils of being queer. You know, like their whiteness and cishet blendingness shield them from a lot of the perils of being queer, but then they're celebrated for being queer. It always make me feel some kind of way. Um, but yes, they are a white lesbian couple, and the documentary goes through their life. One of them, do y'all remember the movie called A League of Their Own? We're members of the All American Team. We come from city near and far. Some Canadian. Woo! We're all for one. We're all for one. We're all American. Y'all remember that movie? It had Madonna, Rosie O'Donnell, Gina Davis, and I don't know what Kit's real name is, but yes, Dottie Kit. It was the women's baseball league. The first time that it happened. It's called A League of Their Own. I have to see. Anyway, it's a good movie. It came out in '92. So it's about women's baseball, and like when they first had women's baseball, the very first time. Um, and one of the lesbians in this documentary was one of those girls that it's based on. It almost now that the movie is loosely based on the reality. They try to follow as close as possible, but some characters they blended together. So you remember Marla? If you remember the movie, I remember Marla, the one that was kind of boyish, that was like Dottie and them was raised on a dairy farm, but there was one that was kind of boyish that that played baseball, but she was kind of ugly. All of these stories kind of blended in with this girl's real life story. She was ugly. She was cute. But very butchy. Yeah, kind of. They were sporty. That's the better word. So they kind of, this particular person is one of the people who, is one of the people who were the real life person from that movie. One of the real life people. And so she played baseball. She was from Canada, but she played in the United States because they were having a women's baseball league. So she came out when the song was like, some of us is from Canada. She was one of the girls. The song said, we come from Canada. Da, 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 da. She was one of the girls from Canada, one of the rare girls from Canada. And so, she was one of those girls. So they kind of talk about the feminist aspect of baseball, because that movie was just about how the guys had went off to war. A lot of the guys had been drafted, and they were still trying to make entertainment, and there was a lot of baseball fans, so they were like, "Oh, well, why don't we let the girls play?" And it was just a bunch of misogynistic shit, and so and so, so and so, so and so. So she was one of those girls. But the documentary talks about her falling in love with her name is Terry, and her girlfriend she met playing hockey, and her name is Pat. And it goes through their love and how they navigated all these years, because they started being together in the 40s. Hey, Salted. Who is Chrissy? I don't know who Chrissy is. Um, Going together as the 40s. They start going together in the 40s. And so they lived together. They both had boyfriends that they were like that was trying to court them and get them married. And they kind of was like, yo, if we don't get the fuck, because they both were from little ass towns, and they were like, yo, if we don't get the fuck out of these little ass towns, they're gonna try to get us hitched, girl. And you know, we love each other. But we can't tell anybody. And, you know, they were just secretly hooking up and in love and visiting each other's because they both lived with each other's parents, but they all had dudes because they were young girls. How I guess how the culture was back then is, you know, you're a girl, you live with your parents, and then dudes are start courting you, like coming, taking you out on dates and asking your father if they can, you know, date you. And they were already hooking up in their lesbian love affair while these dudes is coming to court them. And so, you know, they like, girl, we need to Chrissy platform is for black femininity. She talks about the divide between black cis women and black trans women. Isn't that problematic, Chrissy? They be talking about colorism too. I don't know. I don't know what you, where she do a lot of voiceovers. I don't like her. Yeah, I don't know her. Is that the one? Anyway, but so they lived in Canada and they were like, we got to get up out of here. Let's just go to United States. Apparently, they thought that the United States would be more open or something. I don't know. In the documentary, they thought that they could be themselves. Oh, I know what they thought. They said they thought that because they didn't know anybody in the States, they could be themselves. And so they moved in together and had been living together for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. So they got this job together at this interior decorating company. And was it in New York or Chicago? I don't remember. But they lived in some kind of city and they were yeah, if it's that kind of that Chrissy, I don't fuck with her. She's like, I don't like her. If it's the Chrissy that I think about. Does she do voiceovers? Like it's not really her face. I'm always apprehensive about people that don't show their face. Um, don't she do voiceovers? Yeah, I don't fuck with her. You're right. Um, but anyway, they both were working at this interior design high end decorating firm, and everybody thought that they were friends, but they were actually lovers, and they had kept it a secret for years. I'm talking about years and years and years and years and years. And so they were talking about one of the scenes. I guess the daddy knew that she was lesbian. One of their daddies knew that she was lesbian, and the daddy said all she needs to do is get fucked by a big black man, and it'll fix her. Baby, when I tell you I was floored, I was like, what? Because it was all this lovey-dovey white lesbian stuff, and then they hit me with that. I was like, what? But apparently her daddy had an inkling that she was on some lesbian shit, and his racism came out. You know how they be infatuated with black dudes and their dicks. And I was gagging. And so they were best friends, and so they worked at the same place for years. They said they worked at this place together for years. But they dressed feminine, wore makeup, wore heels. They both were ladies. And one of the reasons why they succeeded in this particular avenue of high-end home decor is because they were about business and they were ladies. Like they really could sell this lady image. But she was like, everybody thought we were just the best of friends because they didn't imagine that we were lovers because, you know, we did cishet normativity so well. One of the girls, you was in other pictures, she's always in some pants. But at work, honey, high film. Both of them were high film in their dresses, in their heels, in their makeup, behind their desk, like Secretary Fish, getting their life. And they were, you know, then you see pictures of them together and they just look like friends. But honey, they were muff diving, baby. And so in that moment, and they lived together. And so they were like, oh, they're roommates. And you know how stupid people can be. And so I saw that and I was like, that's one of the privileges that I was thinking. I was like, it's not that I think that folks and like white queer folks don't go through anything or don't have any pressures with homophobia. Yeah, very vintage DL. Don't have any pressures or any consequences of homophobia, but particularly, especially women, white women who pass as hyperfemme women, they really benefit from that so much that, especially men too, white men who perform very cis heteronormative, who passes, you know, masculine white gay men. They benefit from those things so much that the queer stuff is not really affecting them in the same way that it would like a black, trans, or queer person, particularly around this time. Like from the 40s, 50s, 60s, you know, black folks wasn't getting into high-end interior design firms. So we can, honey, this lady was sitting. So one of the climactic parts of the documentary is one of the ladies' name is Terry, and one of them is named Pat. So Terry has is it a niece? She has like a niece or something that she's really, really close to. And she just was like the godmother to her niece. And her niece, you know how you got an auntie that you just fuck with. Terry was the auntie that her niece fucked with. And she didn't tell anybody in her family until they were like old, like silver hair, gray, old. And she told her first. And she said she was super, super nervous telling her. And so the niece was like, I just can't believe that she felt like she had to hide this from me for so long. And I wouldn't want her to feel like she had to hide this. And so they went through that whole process. But now Terry and Pat are getting, the couple are getting older. Like Pat is getting Parkinson's. Yeah, this is on Netflix. Pat is getting Parkinson's. Auntie Terry is getting Parkinson's. Like she's shaking, so she can't do stuff for herself as well as before. So they're seeing both of, and Pat, her wife, well, not wife yet. Pat is not going through anything, but Pat is very protective because remember they've been together for 70 fucking years. You know what I'm saying? So she's very protective of her. Like, you know, I'm trying to take care of my woman because this is my girl. So, you know, so there the tension starts when the niece is like, yo, Pat, you owe like her, and she is deteriorating. Y'all need to move into a place that 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 folks can take care of y'all, because we all the way up in Canada. That's where her niece was. That's where her people were from. She was like, I can't come. You know what I'm saying? I can't come down here all the time, and her health is declining. So y'all both are old. So y'all need to get into a place, like get into a assisted living place and a senior citizen community where people can help. Y'all got people to help y'all. Y'all need to pay people to come and clean this house. Y'all need to pay people to come cook for y'all. Y'all need to do these things. And so when they first have the conversation, you hear the niece. This whole conversation was annoying the fuck out of me, but it almost like the niece and the family was making it seem like Pat was, you know how people don't want you to be in no gay shit, and they try to act like they cool with it, but their disdain for the gay shit shows up in other places. Well, I feel like she was saying that Pat only tolerates her because of her love for Terry, but she said, I really don't feel like she likes me. I don't really feel like she likes us. As far as her family, and when Pat is really just being cordial, she like, girl, you my woman's family, so of course I like you or whatever. But they were being real kind of, we don't really like her. She's taking our auntie away from her, away from us. But it feels like they didn't start that until they came out as a couple. All that kind of stuff. So it got real weird. That part got real weird. But later on, they find out that Pat, this part I was kicking. So they found out that Pat was sitting on over $1 million. The first conversation, they were calling around to the assisted living homes, and Pat was like, oh no, we can't afford that. That's too expensive. But all the places were super, super expensive. And she was like, oh no, we can't afford that. And her niece was like, I think Pat don't want them to move anywhere because they live in the house together. And she don't want them to move back to Canada. She don't want all these suggestions. She kind of sabotaged them, like, girl, we don't want to go to no Canada. We don't want to do that. We don't. And she was like, mm-mm. And so they finally settled on looking for places in the area that they're in, but in a place, and sell their home and move into a place. But there was one that was like $84,000 a year. And Pat was like, girl, that is too expensive. No, thank you. We can't afford that. But they, for some reason, her tea got out where she was sitting over $1 million. And the niece started crying. She was like, why would you try to lie and say that you can't afford this when you know her health is deteriorating and y'all can't stay in this house? And we've been trying to get y'all talking about getting y'all a place, and you're lying about you can't afford it when you sitting on $1 million, over $1 million. Oh, excuse me, over $1 million. Pat was like, girl, we can't afford that, honey. I thought it was funny that she was sitting on $1 million. But that's their privilege. About they were able to build $1 million. So finally, the niece confronts her, and the niece is crying. She was like, and Pat had told Terry, her woman, Pat told Terry, girl, don't be telling what's her name? Let's call her Karen. I always call, let's call her Karen. Don't be telling Karen our business. Pat was like, Terry, don't be telling Karen our business. No. And Terry ended up telling the business about the money. And so they kind of did like this intervention and forced them to get into a better place. Because Pat was being irresponsible because they needed to be in a place where they had somebody taking care of them. Because Pat was getting old and Terry was getting old. And so they finally moved them into a place where they had some assisted living together. And so they went through them interviewing people and asking them, you know, because at this point they like we're not being in the closet, child. We not being in the closet. We are LGBT lovers. We've been this for, you know, at this point 60 years. No. So we want y'all to know that coming in that we are a couple. We're not just Judy's. And so they interviewing people and they go through that process and they finally move. And so then they come back to them years later where they are even older. And so they done got, you know, now Pat is deteriorating. Like, this is where it gets kind of sad. It gets kind of like, oh, I want this kind of love. They so sweet. Oh my God. They're kissing each other hands because they older. One is in the on the bed. It was so cute. Part of it was like, oh, these privileged ass white lesbians. And then part of it was like, oh my God. This is so cute. So I kept oscillating from oh girl to oh, I want this. Did they get married before they moved into the home? So at the time that they moved into the home, they were like young and like gay marriage wasn't nowhere near. It was like illegal, like illegal. So no, they got together before. Like remember when it used to be, honey, you had to wear. They would raid people's houses when they thought it was some gay shit going on in their house. They would raid people's houses, and you know, and they had to have certain amount of girl clothes on, or they were going to go to jail. When they got in their situation, they were young, and it wasn't legal at all. But by the time they're moving out of this particular house, it's in our era. Because this is 70 years have gone past. And so even they had a conversation. So they have another couple, a gay white male couple that they have dinner with that they know that they're around the same age. So they all kind of grew together and kept it a secret. And they're just living like this. And so once marriage equality passes, they're eating dinner with their gay male couple friends. And they're talking about, ooh, should we all get married now? And they're both of the couples is like, we don't really need that. We've been together for shit at that point, 60 years, 55, 60 years. And they both of the couples was like, do we really need to do that? No, after the act passed. They weren't they were when the documentary start, they're older, so maybe like 70s or like late 60s, early 70s. But when you see by the end of it, they're like 80, 90. Well, I don't know the exact age, but they're old when it starts, but then by the time like they about to pass away, because one of them Terry passes away at the end, but they're older in the assisted living. But when you meet them, they're in their house, the house that they bought together, that they've been living together for years and years and years and years. So when you first meet them. And so, and the Marriage Equality Act had passed. And so they were having a dinner talking about it with their other gay older couple about it. And they were like, no, we don't think we're going to get married. But eventually in the assisted living home, they eventually do get married. They, Pat and Terry eventually does get married. Then later on, they end up getting even worse. Like as far as their health. And so even the assisted living home wasn't enough. And so they convinced Terry to come back to Canada. But Terry wasn't going to come without Pat because, girl, that is my woman. I'm not leaving her. So if y'all want, if y'all want me to come, I'm coming. She's going to have to come with me. So, and they already knew her. But remember, in the beginning of the documentary, there was some tension with the family. And so it was like, we care about you, Auntie Terry, but your girlfriend, we don't really fuck with her like that. We just tolerate her. But it's kind of weird because at the end of the documentary, Terry passes away. And I guess, and Pat is in Canada with Terry's family. So I wonder how weird that is. Because all the family was sharing kind of some weird tension with Pat. And so now I'm like, where Pat going now? I'm pretty sure she's probably going to stay with them, but that's kind of weird. You feel what I'm saying? If you know your family got this kind of tension, her family got this kind of tension with you, and then now she passed away and you got to stay with them. That's kind of like, ooh. But yes, I really enjoyed it. It was one of them situations, like I said, where I was really socially examining the privilege of being white and queer. They probably tried to get real sweet on her to get that woman you. You know that. Once they knew what kind of coin she had, they probably got extra nice. Have some voodoo chips. I love these. These are my shit. Where's Pat family? I think they're dead. Remember, these people are old, so all their people done passed away. And this is Auntie Terry's young family. I think, all of Pat's family was a little different than Terry's. I think Pat's family knew. Like, I think Pat's family didn't really fuck with her like that. So she wasn't able to build the same relationship. I love these, Reggie. So, and they had passed away. There was a bunch of them had passed away as far as Pat's family. But I think that's the one. It was Pat's daddy who was like, she need to get fucked by a big black man to fix her. Yes, I love Judo. Yeah, it does. It is like it's more sweet than bitter. Because what you gotta understand is that they have been in love for 70 years in total. By the end, they have been living together and in love in each other's lives, supportive for 70 years. You can't, I don't care, all that other bullshit don't matter. They in love and in each other's corner, ride or die, for 70 years. So yeah, some of that shit is weird, but the bottom line is beautiful. It's like, man, you had a love that survived all the changes of this society. Like, it outlived all of that shit. It outlived it, outgrew it. It was so far ahead of its time, and you got to see the change come, and that whole time be in love. That's sweet. There ain't much bitter in that situation. And you're a millionaire. So you not only are you navigating this, yeah, that's rare. That's rare, period. Yeah, exactly, Brandon. But hip, when you see it, it's just keeping it real from my experience. When I see those long relationships, if I see it, it's white. It's a lesbian couple or a white gay male couple, and they always got somewhere in their life where they jackpotted off of being cishet. Like they jackpotted off a job where they had a level of security when it comes to finances to get a home, to get a da 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 da, to have financial security. That right there is the privilege that I always see when I see couples who are queer for a long time, who are in relationships for a long time that are queer. Right. So it's really is way more sweet than negative, right? Plant. It's way more sweet. They're literally millionaires. She was literally sitting on $1 million, more than $1 million. So, and the whole time, nobody knew their tea. Nobody knew that they were a couple. So they're not really being affected totally by homophobia. You see what I'm saying? Those privileges were able to shield them. But you a poor black person in you don't have the money to navigate that. What motherfuckers don't know. You don't have a privacy. Just the idea of you living alone where nobody can be in your business. Because even in the beginning of their relationship, when they were living with their parents and shit, they were sneaking and going to hotels with each other. Like when they weren't rich, they had to sneak and potentially get caught. There's some people who are not rich who are navigating that for a long period of time, and it's only inevitable that you're going to end up getting caught. But the privilege of having money and a secure job is that you can buy privacy. You can actually have the money to be private. So y'all can be in your house in the hills with no motherfucker around. You can afford to do that. I think they're intertwined. I think the whiteness gets you the access. Hey, love the light, Nicole. Thank you. I think it gives you the access. And being two femme women also, I think, is a privilege there. Two femme women in keeping that secret because women are stereotypically more affectionate. Yeah, Pat is still alive, I think. At the end of the documentary, Pat was still alive. I think it's easier to hide with two femme women I think it's easier to hide gayness with two film women than it is two men. I don't know. I think because masculinity is so policed, it's not that femininity is not policed, but it's policed when it comes to queerness and sexuality. I think masculinity is policed more. And so I feel like it would be more strange. But then when we look at I know this ain't something that I think I know this because of the facts and the statistics. When you read history books about queer folks who were being arrested for these kind of moral laws and moral indecency kind of indecent kind of laws of behavior, it was predominantly men. And so yeah, I don't think that I know that. And so it's easier. I think it's easier to navigate the world hidden in secret as a woman than it is to do it back then as a man. Women are more checked on gender roles. Mm, I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. I can't. I would have to chew on that a little bit. I feel that my uncles are 65 and been together since they were 28. They are black lawyers, though. Money access has shielded them because they are executives. They have worked with Kyla writers before. Yes, I could, I could definitely see money being a factor. Definitely. But because feminists gives you social capital, I everything that they experienced, everything that Pat and Terry experienced, like I would assume, like yes, that's what you experienced because they capitalized on we both gonna be film out here and getting our money in this business. They weren't. It would be totally different if one of them was butch and refused to play the gender role of being film. Like if one of them was butch, like a stud, their life would have went totally different because you could easily pick up on, oh, they living together, one film, one butch ass lesbian. Oh yeah, we need to check this up. They being indecent, but because of the two films, dust. Yeah, I think that some people have the illusion that they can more easily dominate or control femininity. Explain that a little bit more. Oh, and then there's this one scene where Terry had passed away. There was some kind of scene. Maybe Pat had passed away. I can't remember. But there was a plot. There was a grave. One was Terry's, and maybe Pat had passed away, and I didn't clock it or whatever. Anyway, um, and one of the family members was like, this isn't the niece. This isn't the niece that was caring for them, that was helping them get their shit together. It was another family member that they had interviewed. And ooh, I wanted to punch her in her face. She was saying, like, I just don't think that this is right. You know, they shouldn't have, she should have there should be some kind of plot. Like she should be with her family. She shouldn't be with this lesbian. Like it was on some weird ass the niece. This is not the positive niece. This is like a random other negative family member. And she was mad that they were going to be in a plot together. That they had planned all of this stuff out. And she was like, she should be with her family. She shouldn't be in laying next to no lesbian. Basically, that's what it felt like she was saying. Mm. Well, I see that you're saying about the privilege. So true or live. Femininity is something that's still viewed through the lens of masculinity as something to conquer, as weaker. Yeah, absolutely. They naturally see it as weaker or inferior, easy to tackle. Mm, yeah, totally agree. But it was really good in the sense of the history because they went through this like little history lesson where they were talking about how white people were navigating their queerness at the time. And then they went into her history about the baseball shit and then their love story. And it was really pretty. It was cute. And I enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. It was like I said, I was oscillating from oh girl, you privileged bitches too. Oh, this is so cute. Adorable. Hmm. Yes, absolutely. The same way that Pat's daddy thought that the way to curb her daughter's sexuality was to pair her with hyper masculine figure. Yes, absolutely. They stole your heart. Yeah, they did. Especially that part where Pat. There's a scene where Pat is in, um, and they're funny. Like they have charming personalities. Um, Pat is going through her now. At this point, Pat's health is deteriorating. First, it was the first person to start deteriorate was Terry. Um, but now Pat's is. And so Pat is in this hospital bed, and Terry, they're in the home, they're in the assisted living home, and Terry has her wheelchair next to Pat's bed. And and she's reaching for her hand and she's trying to reach down to kiss her hand. Oh, oh, it just made me feel so cute. I was like, oh my God, I want to be like this when I'm old. In love with somebody. But yeah, no, that don't work for trans women. That's more for the queers. But yeah, yeah, that part was really, really, that got me emotional. But then of in the beginning of the documentary, I went down this emotional roller coaster thinking about um, just thinking about how we are today is just not how we are, like just how they were. Like uh, we like the luxury of nah, that's the wrong way to say it. Um, the liberties that we have now, me being able to be free as a trans woman and say what I have to say and navigate the world how I navigate, um, even though it's not perfect, but living back then where literally it was criminal. Like motherfuckers was after you. Like they were trying to. I'm reading this book called let me go to it. I'm reading this book called Deviant Wars. Anyway, it's called The Deviant Wars. I did an interview with the author, Eric Servini, on his Instagram. So if you want to check it out. Thank you, Live. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I did an interview with him, and because I was interviewing, he was interviewing me. But when people interview me, I kind of go research them, and so I bought his book on Audible. And this book really lays out two things, two key points about the book. This is pre-Stonewall, okay? So I know, and it's really important. I know Stonewall people have positioned Stonewall as a pinnacle moment in queer history and pride and blah 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 blah. But historically, first of all, the first riot was not Stonewall. It was actually Compton Cafeteria in San Francisco. But Stonewall kind of, I think because it's in New York, it kind of this way into I'm that girl. But yeah, the Compton riots happened before Stonewall. Just historical facts. But prior to Stonewall, there was still queer stuff battles happening. Maybe not as rebellious and big like as that, but there was still queer battles being fought. And so Kamini is the main character in this book, and it's a historical book, a real person, and he graduated from Harvard. He was astronomer. Yes, he was like a scientist and astronomer, and the military was forcing him, like literally, because he got caught doing some gay shit in the bathroom. It literally was they were trying to fuck his career up, but they didn't really have proof that he was doing some gay shit. It was just assumed, and literally messed this Harvard graduate's career up. And this is during the time when being an astronomer was a coveted job because they were trying to outdo Russia when it comes to space shit. And so he was like at the top of his game. Like he was like a coveted expert in astronomy. And so think about, you are the most decorated astronomer in the country. Like you've been to the top schools, you have been an educator, you have invented things, you have literally contribute to this field of work in a way that nobody has. And you gay. And at this time, people are trying to catch gay people. It isn't just you gay and we prejudice. Like they got like moral, what is it called? morality task force. Like it's like morality task force on in the police stations. Like it's a whole department about morality. Like so they literally are out here doing things to catch queer people at parks, at restrooms, at laboratories. I would call them laboratories back then. You know, they literally doing things to catch people. Like one of the time that he got caught, they were hiding in the ventilation system of the bathroom trying to record people having gay sex so they can lock them up. So, and he was one of the people he had came in the bathroom. But this now he was one of them freaks that that was trying to do something. But this particular time, he wasn't doing anything. He was really literally going into a bathroom. It hadn't popped off. And just because he was in there, they were trying to get him together. So they didn't have proof. But just because he got locked up for it, it was a snowball effect in his military career because he was a military dude. And so he goes through this whole chain of events of trying to get his job and getting denied and not being able to work, like almost about to kill himself because he cannot get a job anywhere because of that being on his record and the military not being able to give him access to certain things and clearance because of the this one gay case that's on his record. And so in this era, pre-Stonewall, there were battles going on that led to some of the privileges that we have now. But it was a whole different time. I remember I was doing some research and I was researching laws and shit. And the laws, there was this law called the padlock law. And I was doing the research on how it got started. There was this lesbian who was doing like a play, who was remaking an Oscar Wilde play. And it's funny that she's kind of like queer. She's like a queer woman, but when she was younger, her brother was like a murderer, like not a serial killer, but like he had a murder case that he had killed somebody, and it was kind of wild. And she had to change her name so she wasn't associated with him. But that's a whole other side of the story. But that was weird. But got older, she started being an actress and started doing Broadway and started doing play shit and traveling around the world doing this play where she was, I don't know, I can't really explain it, but it was very risque for its time. And so because they felt like she was promoting homosexuality, they made this law to where any plays that were promoting homosexuality or indecent stuff or immoral stuff, they can literally go to the theater and padlock the door closed where people can't come in or come out. And they can go in there and rate them. And they were called padlock laws. And these laws, these rules and laws that they were using to control queer folks led to shit like, y'all remember back in the day in Hollywood, like husband and wives, they couldn't on camera be in the same bed. Like they had to have separate beds in their house because of why those rules came into being was because of this woman doing this play, going around the country and doing this kind of queer play. All those laws that she started to, her case started to make these kind of laws where they were controlling the image that you could put out to promote homosexuality. Let me see what her I have one of my lectures is about being trans in art, and let me see if I can find her name. Being trans in art. Yeah. Oh no! I'm not saying. Oh no! I must have didn't save it. Oh yes, I did. Great. Her name is. Oh shit! I know. I lost it. I'll have to find it. But anyway, but yes, something Maud Allen or Allen Maud. I have to find her name. But yes, she started them fucking with her. Started a bunch of these laws around the country where they were making rules about what you could do in Hollywood, what you could actually portray, what you couldn't portray in Hollywood in regards to homosexuality, in regards to all the stuff. God, what is her name? I just added her story to the lecture. Come on, lecture. Yes, honey, I'll be educating out here. um, but yeah, and you see these little battles that lead to these things, and you know when you're younger, I know when I was younger and I seen people in different beds, and I learned that they were in different beds for a reason, like because people didn't want to show like some kind of sexual innuendos. And so in my mind, when I was younger, I'm thinking like, "Oh, that's a stupid rule. Da, 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 da. Why would they do that?" And it just seemed dumb. But I didn't know that there was some queer history that led to this, to the world being like this. There was them being homophobic and not wanting people to depict homosexuality or anything indecent on film and in entertainment. They start making these laws and rules based on fucking with her. And that was like back in the 20s and 30s. And so it led to all the rules that we had during the Leave It to Beaver days, which is so wild. So thinking about how they had to navigate that shit. And in the beginning of the documentary, I got emotional because I started to I'm almost, I don't know if I'm an empath. I don't know if I could say I'm an empath, but how my body works, like if how my brain works, like if I'm seeing something visual about a trauma or about something, my brain will snowball into scenarios. Like I'm my emotions are living it. It's hard to explain. And so my brain was snowballing into all the scenarios that my mind could consecutively think of that a queer person would be in those days. And it was getting heartbreaking. And I was like my body was reacting to it. So I had got emotional during that time, during that part of the documentary too, because I was like, gosh, like I don't know how I could live like that. But you don't, you know, it goes back to like when black folks say, "Oh, I couldn't. They would have had to kill me." But if I was in slavery, but what you don't understand is that this was cultural. You're coming out the pussy, learning that white people are the masters and the rulers, and they make the rules. And you are born into this. It's not like you know, it's like your parents are trying to keep you alive. So they're like, yo, all this feisty shit you got going on, calm that down. And so it's like culturally. So yeah, it was just the way it was. It wasn't, you know, yes, they're good. Of course, clearly because how we are now, there were people who bucked the system. But that bucking of, look at us now. Most motherfuckers ain't out here protesting Black Lives Matter, but yeah, they sharing a link, but they taking a funky ass to work every single day. They ain't doing nothing disruptive. They're just living their lives, and it's no judgment, but they not out here bucking the system. They just kind of going along with it. That's the average motherfucker. So motherfuckers act like they radical, but they really not. They're really not radical. They're kind of just going day by day. There are other people that are out here being radical that really is trying to buck up the system. But that's just, and I'm pretty sure that's how it was back in the day, because that was the safe route. And most motherfuckers is going to do the safe route. And so we couldn't have had a million Harriet Tubmans, because that's just not, that wasn't the safe route. Everybody don't have that safe, everybody don't have that that rebel kind of spirit to take the risk. And everybody don't have the circumstances to push you to that risk as well. Right. Most motherfuckers are trying not to ruffle the feathers. I'm just trying to live. I'm trying to figure out how not to get my baby sold. Yeah. So I can't really say, and I even know my life. I know that if my mother hadn't got on drugs, I know I wouldn't have transitioned until I got older. Because my mother, prior to transition and prior to her drugs, my mother was a god to me. Like, my mother was a goddess. I didn't want to disappoint her. So I know if my mother never would have got on drugs, even though I was already feeling queer, I would have hit it. I know I would have hit it, because I wouldn't have wanted to disappoint my mother. My mother getting on drugs and disappointing me in her motherhood gave me a certain level of freedom to say, fuck it, well, I'm going to do this, because we no longer are trying to impress each other. We are no longer living up to this, whatever the rules are, this wonderful mother, and I'm being this wonderful child. Being in a group home gave me a level of freedom from my mother, from the expectations of my mother, from the obligation of my mother, because I know if I stayed in her house, I would have wanted to be a good child for her. And being a queer child in that time, a good child for her. And I knew it. So I never would have bucked that system, because, like I said, my mother was a god. She was I'm a mama's baby. Like, I didn't connect with dudes. Like, even though I had father figures in my life, I didn't connect with them like that. I connected with my mother. And I wouldn't have wanted to disappoint her. So I probably would have transitioned later in life, once like I got an adult. But yeah, her getting on drugs definitely opened up the door for me not to feel as obligated to her as I would have if she hadn't got on drugs. It being, because in the group home, shit, you motherfuckers ain't my parents. Fuck y'all. So I don't mind tipping through the house in girl clothes, and there's nobody to disappoint. This is who I am. Get the fuck out of here. And so I do think that what allowed me to transition early, the circumstances was that the circumstances was that I, I had a little bit of freedom, more so than some of the people that I grew up around, because they were still in the house with their parents. They were still in the house with their parents. And coconut oil. I went to Palm Springs, like I told y'all, and I burned really bad, sunburned really bad. And so my skin, I don't know if y'all can see, y'all see that I had got some, let me see if I can get y'all up. Yeah, there we go. Y'all can really see the peel. And my skin is peeling, and I got in the tub and I took, exfoliant, and honey, that made it worse. Because it wasn't all over. It was like right here and right here, but baby, now it's all over. So I am putting some coconut oil on me. It would have been worse than this, but I had put some aloe vera on it while I was there, so it actually made it better. But yeah. Anyway, what was I talking about? But yes, I feel like I transitioned because I had the freedom to. I was in a situation where I had the freedom to, and there was no obligation to anybody because I can just do it because I was in a group home. Because when I was younger, because right when I started to change the way I dressed, that's when I got into group home. But I remember when I started to change my clothes and they got a little bit more feminine, and I was still staying with my mom. It was very side eye, and I was really I was really insecure about it. Like, oh, how my mama gonna think? But once I got older, it was like, fuck it. Yeah, they said that, but it really wasn't no evidence. I wanted a little bit when I was researching that. I wanted a little bit more evidence. Not that I didn't believe it. Not that I didn't believe it, but yeah, I wanted a little bit more. Do y'all dry brush? I'm looking for my. I dry brush sometime, and that shit feels good. Yeah, vitamin E is great for your skin. Yeah, I. One of the things about the J. Edgar Hoover movie, I wish that they kind of insinuated some things, but I wish they would have got into detail more about that. What is dry brush? So it's when you take a literal brush and dry brush your whole body. Like try it, like a soft bristle brush, not a hard one. A soft bristle brush, and like brush your whole body. It gets like blood flowing in your skin, and it's exfoliating. And yeah, dry brushing. Like your whole body, everywhere. Dry brushing. It feels so good and it's good for your skin. Like a soft bristle, like a really soft bristle brush. And dry brush your whole body. But yeah, it is a whole thing and it feels good and it is nice. I like at nighttime when I put cocoa butter on it, makes your skin lovely. I love that. And just let it soak on in. And coconut oil, the um the chemical molecular shape, the molecular shape, the structure of the molecule is small. So it can this jojoba oil and I think avocado oil, the molecular structure is small, so it really can absorb into the skin. It really can absorb into your skin and your hair. Yes. Hmm. Yeah. Other than like some oils, their molecular structure are bigger, like olive oil. So they don't really penetrate like coconut oil, avocado oil, jojoba oil. Yeah. What else y'all been watching? I watched um the Shantae Moore Unsung. I thought that was cute. What other one did I watch? Shantae Moore and the SWV Unsung. What else I watched? What else? I just started. I watched Curse. I don't know if y'all Netflix. This one is number one. Hey, Maddie. Um, Cursed on Netflix, which is kind of a cute take on King Arthur Excalibur story, the Sword of Power. It's basically, you know how the Excalibur story is the the sword chose Arthur. Y'all pray I get this job interview for I interview for. It was a terrible interview, but I just want the job. Not it was terrible. Good luck. Yes. Um, so y'all know he was the only one who could pull the sword out of the stone. So this plays on the idea of pre that happening. before Arthur, the sword chose a girl. The Wolf Blood Prince. I mean, the Wolf. No, not Wolf Blood Prince. The Wolf Blood Witch. So it tells the story of a girl and how she got the sword, and it's called Cursed, and it's really good. I like it. It's like it's like kind of Game of Thronesy, but with a lower budget, but not such a low budget that you can't like it. Um, it's good. I enjoy it. Um, I'm watching Warrior Nun. That's I just started it, but it slaps. I hate interviews, especially ones with panels. I've never done a panel interview. I've done group interviews and I've done individual interviews. I've never done an interview where it was like multiple people interviewing me. Yeah, Warrior Nun. It's really good. It's on Netflix. I just started it, so I can't tell you what it's about, but apparently they're like it's like a legion of nuns who are killing demons. Group interviews are trash for me. Yeah, I think I do good at interviews. I think I do. I've never had a job that I interviewed for that I didn't get, so I don't. Yeah, interviews are successful for me. But I feel like I've been trained to interview really well from an early age. Because they used to, in the group home, they used to put us in like life skill classes and shit to teach you how to do shit like that and how to be successful at interviews and da da da. And then when I was when I became like a project manager for stuff, I had to do interviews. So you know what people are looking for. I think it is a skill. Yeah, I think you know like what as the interview, especially now that I've done it where I'm the interviewer, I know how to slay it. I interviewed for the Apple Store, and them hoes said, "No, ma'am." Wait, that is a lie. I said that I have interviewed. I got everything I interviewed for. That is a lie. There's one job that I interviewed for multiple times that I never got. So other than this one, I've got all of them. But I have interviewed for Delta Airlines 3 times and didn't. I do the interview. I get past the first interview. When I get to the second one, that's where I can't get past. For some reason, I can't pass the second interview. And it's only Delta because I wanted to be a flight attendant for Delta at one point because my cousin is a flight attendant for Delta and he lives the life that I want to live. He lives the life that I want to live, baby. He travels everywhere. He like goes all kinds of places. He owns his own house. He's single, owns his own house, and really is paying it off really, really fast. I remember I went up there in June, and his year to date money, like in June, I saw one of his checks, And his year-to-date money at the time was higher than my yearly salary. I was like, whoa. We were like in the middle of the year, and that nigga he was already over my year-to-date salary. And I was like, whoa, you making a lot of money. He says, yes, but I'm working a lot. So he don't think that it's don't think that it's like I'm just breezing. He was like, no, my time, I'm working because I have a goal that I'm trying to meet. And he was like, the flexibility of it is, I can pick up people's shift when I need extra money. And he's trying to pay off his house really fast. And so they don't, and another key thing about airlines is you only get a certain amount of hours a month. It's not like traditional jobs where 40 hours a week, 40 hours a week, 40 hours a week, 40 hours a week. They go by month schedule. So they could only get like 80 hours a month. And they could pick up shift from other people. So their main hours could be like 80 a month. And that's what he says, how I make the money that I make is I have my own flat 80 hours, and then I pick up other people's shift. And then you get like a per diem, some kind of per diem if you are like a dollar or two if, when you're just in some shit, how that works. I can't remember exactly how he explained it. But he was like, all of this is, you know, is work. He was like, so I'm just working. And when you see me traveling to places, that's because I forced myself to do a vacation, forced myself to get that stuff. Um, Maybe it's good you didn't get the Delta job. The airline industry is hit right now. And who knows when it will get better. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't regret it because I went into doing, you know, stuff that I love anyway. Um, but I just feel like the airline situation would have gave me access to the world that because imagine if I had access to the world, I would have so much access to trans people's experience in the world. I would have somebody from some trans person from South Africa on my show. I could travel around with my equipment on my time off, and it would just open up a different kind of access to trans people that I want. Like I would love to have, I feel like my audience is United States based, of course, because I'm from the US. But I wish that I could actually go in community because some of the people that I would want to talk to are, because think about in the US, if you think about the people who are popular, they not in community. Like when we talk about like a Janet Mock and Laverne and um, all these popular people, they not really the ones on the ground. They doing work, but they're not the ones on the ground. So I would have to go into that area. I would have to go to London to see who's the trans girls doing work on the ground, organizing trans girls. Yeah, or you know what I'm saying, shit like that. I would want to have that kind of access. And I thought that being a flight attendant would give. I know it would. It would give me a certain amount of access to the global landscape of transness that I don't have just being stuck in the US. I would love that. Think about it. I'm going live. I'm going live in Dubai, and I got my trans homegirl. Da 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 da. So tell me, what's going on in Dubai, girl? What's up? I would love to do shit like that. Night, Tracy. Night, Tori. How are you? Being passable helps land interviews. It sucks, but it's true for me at least. They clock you, they start looking at you different ways. Yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't think I get clocked in immediate situations. I think I'm passable enough to get through in the short periods of time. I think people get into my tea over time. Hey, Brianna. Um, I think people get in my tea. Like if I'm hanging out with somebody over and over and over, I feel like I let my guard down and then you get into my tea. Um, your job would be a dream. I love auto shows and cars. Your job would be a dream for me. Do you like it? Maybe I think it more romantic than it is. With it for a while, but you have to cover your own health insurance and you're on your feet all day. I can see how that could be late. Yes, definitely. I agree. I think sometimes the people you want to talk to are not public and beautiful. Hey, they are living in their own community, so you have to be there in order to meet them. PHA, I don't know what that means. Yes, it can be fun, but it's also a lot. Mhm. But yes, but most of the other interviews I've gotten, I've aced. This reminds me of your story about Mia and her interview with BBW. Yeah, that's a new age shit. I'm not going in no interview talking about my tea, boo. that is not gonna happen. That's that new girl stuff, y'all. We paved the way for the babies to be trans and proud. I'm not doing it. That's not me. I'm trying to go in and be cool. I'm trying to, hey, because I don't want the disrespect that comes with that. When you open like that, there might be somebody cool, but then them folks get real disrespectful. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do too. She forced me in a situation where I'm. She don't do that. She don't do that going to the straight club. Mia do that on like her general shit, but she know where to do that at. She don't just be doing it. She do it in the right spot. Employees know now that if they hire a trans person, they could have the issues with insurance. If they are let go, they're afraid to get sued. Mhm. I don't know. I've been fired for being trans, but I've also been working on my life too. So I can't say that it has stopped me totally, but it has shook up my world sometimes. They will find a legal way to get rid of you. Always. If they want to. They will. That always has happened. They will find a way. If they want to get rid of you, they will find a way. Hi. I remember when Mia was talking about the Karens when she was working out. And they were bothering her. I can't really say that I had any issues as I've gotten older. But yeah, when I was younger, there was some weird shit that happened. That's why you gotta come out once the probationary period is over. I put up with getting this gender for 6 months. I had them email ready for HR for day 181. Oh no. Sometimes shit, I just want to work, child. I don't want to have to fight, girl. Sometimes you just, well, I'm glad I don't have to do that now. Now I'm good. With March's Play and Black Trans Women's Inc., I ain't got to do nothing. You know, I'm the executive director of this organization, and I own Marshall's Play. I own my podcast, and and I'm the boss at at Black Trans Women's Inc. So with the money that I get from them, my salary, and Marshall's Play, I can do what the fuck I want to do, say what the fuck I want to say. I'm good, And I was making more money than I was. Now I'm making more money than I was at my job. And I was scared to leave that job. I was at that job for 8 years. And I became the store manager. And I was scared to leave that job because I didn't know, it was like a security blanket, you know? But once I left it and I was able to focus on Marshall's Play and focus on getting a position in the work, it just changed because I was able to focus and build my brand. Now, I'm good. I'm I'm getting paid to do what I have been doing for free for so long. Yeah. Since COVID happened, this is the first time I'm not working more than one job. It felt weird at first, but I think I've gotten lazy now. I only had two jobs when I was saving up for surgeries. I was a manager at Ulta, and then I was working at Bath and Body Works. Um, yes, you just want to live your life. I put up so much of a stink that they implemented non-binary inclusion policy for the entire global company. That's good. Yeah, job security is why many people stay ultimately unhappy. And I was unhappy because I was making 63,000 a year. 63, and that was the most money I had ever made. Um, and I was just scared. It was like, oh my God, if I lose this job, what am I gonna do? It was like, ooh. Um, and I was scared. Like the first, I got unemployment for a little minute, but then, like I said, I had time to really focus on Marshall's Play and promoting it and growing it. I'm not to the point of to where I could live off of Marshall's Play. Okay, so I am to the point to where I could live off of Marshall's Play. But I have two other co-hosts. So the goal is to be able to have them live off it too. So the amount of money that I make with it now, I can live off the amount of money because the amount of money that I make is monthly is less than my month bills. So it's almost like it could be that. It's more than the bills, my total bills. So, but I wanted to get to the point where they live off of it too. So that's what we're trying to grow to. So we're 1/3 of the way there. um, um, Marshall Play is great. We need those conversations. Thank you. That's right, Reggie Glover. School them hoes and let them know. Right. Um, I work a lot still because I work remotely, so it hasn't really changed. I'm thankful, but I do work a lot. Yeah, the the COVID has shook shit up. It hasn't shook shit up for me because, like I said, you know, podcasting is just different. You don't gotta. It's been over a year now since you left BBW, right? Yes. April. April was a year. April was a year. Is Marsha's Plate a 501c3? No, it is. It's a business. Um, it's a for-profit business. We do. So it's a part of my own production, like company. So when I do, how do I explain what I do? Um, So it's still in the process of growing. So I can't really explain it. It's not. I do a lot of shit. So when I come on as a producer of something, like I told you, I produced something for BT. So it is under that business of like it's not called Diamond South Production, but just like say that. That money is all. That's how when I'm on a panel, when I'm doing a lecture, when I'm um, doing workshops for people. Um, any kind of sponsorships we get for advertising, any type of like Patreon donations, Patreon people actually subscribing, any money like that, any type of because our our platform feeds into other platforms that has ads running on our shit, and so we'll get coins for that. Um, yes, so that's kind of how it is. Yeah, but it's not a for profit. It's not a nonprofit. No, it is a for profit. I didn't want to go the nonprofit route because I wanted profit. I want to be able to. I don't like the rules of nonprofit, and I'm already the executive director of a nonprofit. So if I want to write for a grant, if I want to do, I'll do it through Black Trans Women's Inc. And Black Black Trans Women's Inc. gives me access to the coin where I can actually create programming for to benefit trans folks. Marsha's Plate is just for me to tell stories of trans people and archive trans history. There's a lot of, for me, there's a lot of trans girls who are not popular that have so many stories that I want to tell, and so that is what I want to. That's what I want to focus on. Like exactly what I did on my channel too. Y'all, everybody is like for example, everybody talks about Miss Major because she's like the oldest living trans person or whatever. I don't know. But they always talk about Miss Major. But I wanted to show y'all Tracy Jada O'Brien. She's in that clique of older girls, but she's kind of unsung. People don't understand. And she likes this is I'm not trying to be shady, but she's less non-binary than Miss Major. She's like a woman, and lives, a transsexual woman's life. And so there's not that in between kind of stage is not okay, but I just resonate with Tracy a little bit more because she's hard to explain. But yeah, I just wanted to show her. Wanted to talk about Lewis Mitchell. Want to show him. Cheryl Courtney Evans in Atlanta. Her. People don't know how she created Tilt in Atlanta and kind of set the foundation for some things going on in the nonprofit orgs in Atlanta. And she's passed away, and I got an interview with her on my channel explaining it and sharing her life. And that is the shit that I want to do. I want you to be able to, years from now, come to any platform that I have created and see the history of trans folks and see who was on the ground, who was really out here doing the work. So you're not confused. When we talk about, I think I did a spot. Do y'all know who Erling Bud is? I talk about Erling Bud. Like, a lot of folks wouldn't have the HIV meds, access to HIV meds, if it wasn't for her in the DC area. If it wasn't for her, a lot of the trans girls wouldn't have access to some of the things they have access to in that area. And she's unsung. People don't know who she is, Erling Bud. When we talk about Brianna in the comments, Brianna started a whole org in Baltimore before she went on to college to get her lawyer's degree. You see what I'm saying? Like, and people don't know that. People in the area do, but you might, on a national level, you might not know that. And so I don't want that to be forgotten, because there are people who really are unsung out here. And if you're loud with a camera, particularly now, if you're loud with a camera, people might think that you're doing the work. You're not really doing it. Okay. I'm in Miami. People don't want to wear masks. Totally unrelated, but that's everywhere. I'm in Texas. They're like that too. Florida's something else. Yes, I love Florida, but sometimes I just can't. Yeah, Florida's extra. I had to go back and watch Friday's video to laugh at your reads. Your Kiki. Who was I reading? This state is literally the ghetto right now. People be looking mad because I'm wearing a mask. Yes, we are ghetto trying to be Gucci. Those are absolute facts about Erling Bud. Yes, honey. Like, she had. I remember when the org that she started it has been it is dissolved now. But she had like drop-in centers for girls to come in and take a shower. Um, Drop-in centers for girls to come take showers and get fresh clothes, and she just was out here really just just out here doing it. The teachers in my county in Florida are saying that they feel comfortable going back to in-person teaching without temperature checks and a whole mess. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Diamond, you are a true griot. Thank you. Well, actually, Monica Roberts is the griot. No, but I am a griot as well. She just took the brand. But yeah, it could be multiple ones. Yeah. Thank you, Sid. How are you doing today? Yeah, I would love, like, my dream project. If once I get to um, yes, transgender health empowerment, the National Black. Yes, that was a huge fucking deal, and she's still doing the work now. She just worked for another org, but because Black orgs don't get the support that they need, when they're doing the work. So her organization had to dissolve. Um, yeah, she was a grab. excuse me, he was a groundbreaking person. And so I hate that people don't, when the girls are doing the work, I want them to be seen. And then, like, we talk about, um, there's so many things like, D Farmer, she's out of prison now, y'all. D Farmer, if y'all don't know, she just got out of prison like maybe a year ago or 2 years ago. Um, like, the protections that people have, um, like in prisons, of any gender of identity, when it comes to like rape, all of those protections, like the Prison Rape Elimination Act, came from a Black trans woman. She was raped in 1989, and because the prison, because of a in Terre Haute, Indiana, she was in a prison in Terre Haute, Indiana. She was gang raped and repeatedly assaulted and raped, and they wouldn't take up her case. And she literally used the library to build her own case. And the ACL, and finally she was able to get her in the Court of Appeals. And after being denied, and then the ACLU picked it up. The ACLU picked it up, and she was one of the first trans people to be in front to win her case, win her lawsuit, and bring it to the Supreme Court. And it started a snowball effect of protections for people to not be assaulted in prison of all genders. It led to like the Violence Against Women's Act. This one case, Farmer versus Brenham, led to all these things of all genders. So when we talk about centering the least among us, like if you literally fix the system to where it is centering the least among us, it helps everybody on the way up. And this is a perfect example of that. How now girls can sue if they get raped. There was Passion Star here in Houston, not in Houston, I'm sorry, in Texas. Passion Star, because of the PREA Act, which was started by a Black trans woman, she was able to sue when she had got raped in the prison. Not that it prevented anything, but at least she had some kind of legal recourse that she could do, um, because of D Farmer. When we talk about, even cis women who, I remember that cis girl who was being raped by the officers. Was it in Rikers or what is somewhere in New York? And she was able to prove it. She had some video or something. Somebody got her the video, but she was able to get his semen or something and prove it through that. She was able to get sue them motherfuckers because they were supposed to be protecting her. Yeah, so she's unsung. She definitely shouldn't be somewhere because of what she contributes to the protections in this damn fucked up ass system. She definitely shouldn't be somewhere struggling on her bills as an ex inmate, but I bet you she is. I'm personally trying to look for her to see what's going on with her, to see if we can, start, because we're trying to start a elder circle, um, where we're trying to get donations for elders so they can be taken care of. And so, yeah, I know she didn't be. I hope she's not somewhere struggling. Mm, 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 mm. I wonder how Susie McDonald is doing. I wonder too. Because once they used her for that documentary, we showing heard from her. I think she was doing like a little tour, but once the tour was over, mm, it's like, okay, that was nice. Yeah, there's just a lot of unsung girls who have been out here trailblazing, and I really want to make sure um, when I know them, I want to put them on. I think about growing older and have to put things in place for myself, something to make sure someone can't step in and take over. Yeah, that's true. Like yeah, like Tracy Scale, she has commented up in the chat box. Her like she was a trans girl in St. Louis and really made a name for herself in the hair community in St. Louis. She was literally attacked and almost left for dead by the trade. So she had to relocate to another city. She became a bus driver in that city, got married, husband killed himself, had to start her whole life over and um, move on from there. She ended up finding herself in Houston, being a bus driver here, and then now she is, a flight attendant. A whole nother career and all kinds of stuff in between. Like her story, like she need a book. Her story needs to be told. She has a huge story. Her story is huge. Um, who else? I'm trying to think of other girls. It's just so many y'all. So many girls out here with just amazing stories. Like, just living their lives. There's a girl named Brandy. The girl named Brandy. She's passed away now, but she grew up in Indianapolis with me. And like right before she died, she was in a Lil Kim video. She was in Lil Kim's Lighters Up video in New York. Because she lived in Brooklyn at the time that they were shooting it. And she was in the video. Um, I was talking to my aunt, and it made me think about how people start over so many times, live so many lives. Yes, even myself, like I had a whole life in Indiana, whole life in Mississippi, whole life in Texas. Yeah, that's just what it is. Thinking about Tony Michelle Williams in Atlanta. I'm thinking about Tatiana Braxton and the Braxton crew in, excuse me, Florida. Y'all know Madison, but do y'all know Tatiana Braxton and her place in the trans echelon in Miami, like in the role she played? I would love to talk to her because the Braxtons are a whole family of trans girls in Houston. I mean, not in Houston, in Florida. Um, yes, Tatiana, aka TS Cherry. Like, I would love to hear her story. I don't. I would love to hear like a coming of age story of her. Like, I would love to hear her silicone story. Like, how she get to that body type. Um, who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Um, all those trans girls that used to work in Vegas. Remember, they would all be on like Donahue and shit, but they were showgirls in Vegas. Like, where are they at now? Where are they? Mimi Plastic. Where's Mimi Plastic at? I've seen her. She'll pop up every blue moon, but where's she at now? Um, yes, it's a documentary on Candy Darling. Yeah, I know her. Um, I'm more, I'm more about, I want to see what's going on with the, black and brown folks, because it's not that the white girls don't have any oppression, but they always see. So there was an era where they were always shown like Calpurnia Adams. They had a whole little Soldier Girl movie about her situation. Um, Candy Darling. Yeah, it's always that. That something. There was some girl. Um, Carol Farley? Is her name Carol Farley? I can't remember her name. She had a documentary. She's from San Francisco. They always been kind of showcased. Yeah, so I'd be like, mm, I want to see what the brown girls are doing. I really want T.S. Chanel. T.S. Chanel done got shot. I want to know. I want to know her story for real, for real. I want somebody to sit down and interview her. Um, I've been to her house, and it was really a strange experience. I will want to know her story. I think that the many lives and careers that we take on throughout our lives works to dismantle the traditionalist expectations of life. Yes, have you? Yeah, I think so too. I definitely have too many examples in my life to where I can't ever say that I can't do anything that I want to do. Mimi Class is still acting folks on Facebook a mess. Attacking folks. Oh, yeah, I haven't really been seeing her, so I don't know. What's her name on Instagram? um, I just forgot about her until now. What y'all think of the late Consuelo Cosmetic? I don't know her. Doc, her gay son was the late Hector Extravaganza. Yeah, I would want to. That's a great story. Highly plastic. Oh, her main page is Mimi Plastic. Or her. Oh, it's private, so you can't really get into it. I thought she would be popular, actually. For sure. Just forgot about her until now. What y'all think? Yeah, I don't know Consuela Cosmetic. I don't know her. Is there a documentary? It's on YouTube. I have to watch it. She's a gay son of the. Her gay son was Hector Chalaganza. I know Hector. I met Hector a bunch of times. What happened to that girl named Frenchie? And what happened to that girl named um even though I didn't like her, I still want to know what's going on with her. Tasmaya. Um she was messy, but I wonder what happened to her. I know some dudes, I think it was a Bruja was sending me how she was getting into it with a cis girl in the witchy area or whatever. They were doing hexes and voodoo on each other, which was kind of funny. Who else? Miranda Valentino passed away. Yeah, what about like Monica Monroe? Where is she? Where is Alexis Gabrielle Sherrington? Um, now that Jasmine Bonet is not Jasmine Bonet is not doing drag no more. What's going on with her? I know she was a teacher. What's going on with her? Yasmin Campbell Star, um, Jasmine International, Harmonica Sunbeam. She's not trans, but I still would want to know what's going on with her and her career. Um, yeah, I tried to get Jasmine Bonet wanted me as a daughter. Girl, that was more than 10 years ago. We used to get into it. Honey, she used to get into it with everybody. Who else? Who else? I want to know. Other girls were out. Raquel Lord, like what is? I want to know what. I don't really know anything about Raquel's history. I know she's like a church queen. That's what she gives off to me. But I don't know about her history at all. Who else? Yeah, I want to see what you know. Mirror, limitation of life. Oh, let me write that down. Montgomery, Alabama worked at Hojohn's. Yes. Um, she was a football player at Alabama State. Damn, I didn't know that at all. Come on, football player. Word. Yeah, I don't know nothing about that. I don't know nothing about her history prior to, you know, drag. I don't know nothing about her history. I would love to sit down and talk to her. And trans men, I know all the the Trans 101 shit that y'all see that's kind of circulating through like orgs. It was actually a trans man that kind of set that standard. He killed himself, but he was from like Arizona. He was a doctor. I think I'm gonna talk about him one day. But yeah, trans dudes that have been out here. What's the stories, honey? It's free on YouTube. It starts with her showing her whole trans body. She was superficial, super free spirited and troubled. Beautiful throwback documentary. Cute. I knew her and she was so cool. Again, I knew her before. This was that I always loved Jasmine Bonet. Her body was I loved it. Her body was sick. Um, who else? I can't think of anybody now, but yeah. Rhonda from Ohio, the pump lady, y'all know her? I don't think she's still pumping, but Rhonda, there was a pump lady in Rhonda in Ohio. I would want to know what's her team. I think I'm gonna try to get Shauna Brooks on the show. I haven't. It's coming to my mind, so I'm about to write it down. I always forget about because everybody who I hit up to get on the show. Let me tell y'all. So remember last time I got on here, I asked y'all who would y'all want to hear on the show. Um, so I sent a bunch of emails out to a bunch of people. And do you know that every single non-trans person hit me back? And every trans person, well, not everyone. There was one that hit me back, but she's going through some stuff. But most of the non-trans people are the ones that hit me back. That were like, yes, I would love to do it. Da, 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 da. But trans people, they were like, they either didn't respond. Everybody y'all said that y'all wanted to see that was trans, they either didn't respond or they responded and had some kind of excuse. But the straight people, like I'm about to have an interview with Kim Foster. Y'all know Kim Foster. She is the founder of For Harriet. Big YouTube channel on here. Black feminist icon, YouTube icon. Um, Kimberly Foster For Harriet. She's going to be on the show. I'm going to have, of course, I'm going to have Consciously on the show. We interview in like a week. His name is George. Him and who else? But then George M. Johnson. George M. Johnson. He's the writer who wrote All Boys Don't Wear Blue. But most of the trans people, most trans people that I hit up to come through, they either didn't respond or they had something to do. Or they didn't say that, but they were like, self-care, self-care. That kind of stuff. Yeah, it was strange. But that's okay too. Um, Let me see. I know her. Da, 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 da. My favorite performance with Jasmine was Mountains. Lord, not Shauna. I love her, but the drugs. Honey, there's a lot of people on drugs. There's a lot of motherfuckers you wouldn't have. I wouldn't if I was banning folks because of drugs. There's a lot of motherfuckers I wouldn't have on the show. Drugs, drinking, smoking, whatever. Yeah. I just think she's entertaining. I think she's funny. And I feel like if she came on the show, I would want to ask her things about, like how did she start doing drugs? Well, how did she become the party girl that she is? Um, yeah. I would want to know. I don't really know her history like that, but I would want to know it. You know what? I didn't reach out to Amaya. I might do that. So like Amaya, let me put that. I always forget names and forget to hit people up. Forget about names. Yes, me and Mocha Montrese are friends. She actually punked me before years ago. Yeah, years ago. We lived in Indianapolis together. Mother Mocha Montrese. Yes, 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 yes. I have. I am friends with Mocha. Um, that'd be a good guess. Mocha. Mocha be weird though. She be not like negative, but Mocha be acting weird. And this is why trans women can't have nice things, no unity or sense of community. Yeah, it is what it is. Bring Sir Knight on the show. Hell no. So I can be messy. The nigga always weirded me out. Something sleazy I could my put my finger on. We actually do talk about Sir Knight. I actually have the video up, but it's unlisted. I'm gonna post it probably tomorrow. I'm editing a snippet of it that I'm gonna put on IG, but I'm only putting that video on my Patreon because it's a lot of messiness on there, and I don't want it on the platform to. I don't want it on the platform just out in the open. So if people want to hear us talk about Sir Knight and break that all down, they're gonna have to be. They're gonna have to be a patron. Yeah, because I ask questions about. There's a lot of things that I'm confused about, and in that conversation, even though we were calling him out for his rapey shit, for his predatory stuff, there also was some questions that I had that were like, mm, that I don't want public. It can be public, but public behind a paywall. Yeah, I yeah I didn't want to even give him that kind of I didn't want to give him that kind of boost. But yes, I'm editing a little snippet that I can put on our Instagram, and then the whole video is gonna I record. One of the main reasons I don't want it out in the open is I've already addressed the Hope situation. I've already addressed the Hope Giselle situation on the show, and but the timing of each one of these shows, it looks like I'm going hard on Hope in multiple things, but I already had recorded this particular episode, and I really go hard on Hope, and I don't want that public because I've already gone hard on her publicly, and I don't want to seem like in the third conversation, how y'all still talking about Hope and we talking about Sir as a predator? How do we get back to Hope? And so no, I don't want to put that out because it seems like I'm Hope bashing, and I don't want to be Hope bashing. Not, I'm still telling the truth, but I've talked about her too much, and I don't want her to be talked about on my show like that. I hope that makes sense. I have already talked about her, and I don't want to talk about her again. But they they were recorded at different times. So yeah. I love Kim Foster. Appreciate her platform. Yes, I love Kim. I can't wait to be on the show. I don't know what we're gonna talk about, but we're gonna talk about some stuff. um, but how is the COVID situation in Montgomery? I'm supposed to go visit family, but I'm scared. She's a classically trained ballet dancer. She's a classically trained ballet dancer. Oh, you talk about Mocha? Yes, she is. Yes, I know Mocha from here in Montgomery. I knew her in her infancy. Yes, she started in Louisiana. She did some Louisiana stuff too. But yeah, she's an Alabama girl. She's a classically trained ballet dancer. Hey Brendan, bring your mask. There's an ordinance. Yes, it does. I'm glad. Da, da, da. Glad I just became a patron. Yay! Thank you. Yes, it will be there. We talk about. We just talk. We have a long conversation about Sir Knight and his rapiness, and also about restorative justice and how I feel like sometimes they're not doing it right, and sometimes victims get stuff wrong, and not get stuff wrong about their harm, but get stuff wrong about restorative justice. And yeah, that'll be out probably tomorrow on our Patreon. Um, once I get done editing the little snippet. Yes. What else? Oh, we're at 2:27. Yes. I like the combination of your input on Hope and Box 512 input. Yes, I love Brianna. Brianna and Samaya, they really are sharp. I like them. I really like them. They are so smart and sharp. Great analysis. I'm trying to get Samaya's husband, Troy, Lex Newman, and Terrell Starr on the show. Those are like four kind of activist-y, trans-amorous men. Yeah. Try to see get them on the show, see what they can talk about. Pot, Keller, Carly Keller Black. Yeah, I don't think I'm not sure. Troy is Lionel's husband. No. 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 Her husband, Samaya and her husband has been on our show. They have been guests on our show. His name is Tier. No, Tier Turner. Her husband is Turner. Her name is Samaya Turner. Yeah, she took her husband's last name. So Tier Turner. Yes, but he's super sharp. He's smart. He's like, I want some smart, trans attractive men. Not dummies. I wanted ones that have been like they've been together for 10 years. Open, married. So I want people like him who have experience, who are not just coming out of the closet like a Malik Yoba, who really are are thoughtful. And I had him on the show, but I want them on the show alone, just the guys. I don't know the scenario with the girl on the Ogle Project. Are we talking about BWAC? Are we talking about BWAC? Is that her? I don't know. I watched Hope and the other woman on Grapevine. I enjoyed the conversation, but hearing your take on things made me look at it from a different angle. Yeah, I didn't like it. Yeah, I didn't. I thought it was a fail. Thought it was a failure. I go into more detail. I think the so much for me, you made me laugh and made me think. Thank you. Um, let me think what else. Yeah, I just feel like we're past the I tried situation. Like on Grapevine, they have some brilliant people that come on that show, and so people who come on that show shouldn't be on the I tried level. They should be on the I'm 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 running game. I'm telling you, I'm giving you the game. And some of the girls that they had on that episode were not it. I have run into plenty of men, black and white, who identify as straight and they are trans attracted. Some are closeted and some aren't. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I want to have a conversation. I've had conversation like I have had Troy on my show. I've had one of my pieces of trade on the show, Jay. Um, and we talked about our experience. But I really want to have a group of them discussing shit together. I can't remember her name, but she was over the money and used it to abuse some people. Oh, I don't know. I don't know that situation. She was over the Okra Project. I thought the Okra Project was good. I don't remember anything negative happening there. But I don't know. Um, Sometimes I'm out the loop with the nonprofits because they be getting weird. Because you get to asking them what kind of work they doing, and because you ain't seeing it, and they get mad because you asking them what the tea is. I can't remember her name. Yeah, don't know about people's nonprofit other than mine. um, well, yes, I do. I know about Snapco. They doing good stuff. I know about Transgender Cultural District. I know about my sister's place. There's a couple of people. But all right, y'all. It is 2:30. 2 hours and 30 minutes. This has been long enough. I will see y'all on Friday where we are talking about American Beauty um, and all that jazz. What else? Follow me on Twitter and all the other social medias. Diamond Styles at Diamond Styles here. um, what else? I'm trying to think of. Yes, we put out an episode every Thursday. This Thursday is going to be George M. Johnson and his book and his experience with thinking he was trans, but then not going the trans route, not going down that road. And I think that's an amazing story because we have a lot of butch queens that are getting up in drags and then going down the trans road, then they feel like, ooh, this might not have been for me. And so he's a person who thought that maybe he was trans at one point, and he was like, you know what, this is not for me. And we talk about that on the show that's coming out Thursday. I hope y'all like it. Mm. Oh, I wonder who she is. Is it Lord's Hunter? Is it Lord's? Oh, I don't know. I don't even want to stipulate in this. Um, but yeah, that it's a good episode. It's fun and he's funny. I think it's gonna be good. Um, you can follow me on. Oh, I did. Let me put it in the. Oh, let me see. I did a guest spot on queer sounds. Let me share it. Copy. I did a guest spot on this Netherlands podcast called Queer Sounds. They basically take, it's basically, I get to pick 5 songs and we discuss the songs and life. I'm on every platform. Diamond Styles, DIAMONDSTYLZ. Um, but yes, I did a spot on Queer Sounds, so go check it out. It's like we talk about music and we're talking about just queerness through music. And they basically, you get to pick 5 songs and talk about them with the host. It's pretty fun. So I did that this week. Um, um, if you didn't watch the interview with Eric Servini, that is up. There's an interview with me and Raquel Willis on Elizabeth Warren's platform on her Instagram. We did an interview. We did a Black Trans Power takeover on her. She let us do it. We didn't take it over for ourselves, but she gave us for a whole Saturday. She gave Raquel um, the power to interview Black trans people on her platform, and I was lucky to be one of them. And we did an interview there, and other, transgender leaders in the community around the country. Ola, Aria, Mariah Moore, Aria Saeed, and she still has those videos up. So if y'all go to Elizabeth Warren's page, go watch that video and tag me at Diamond Styles. Let me know y'all watched it. Same thing with Eric Servini. Eric Servini is Eric spelled the regular way, ERIC. And Servini is CERVINI. Interview with him. It was fun. White, gay historian. Has a book, like I told y'all, called The Deviant Wars. I did an interview with him, so go check that out. What else have I done? Yeah, so far that was last week. I ain't doing nothing else. Yeah, so all right. I'll talk to y'all Friday. Whilst y'all hear me on Thursday, if y'all subscribe to March's Plate, and I will see y'all here on Friday though. All right, bye bye.